everybody. It is Brooke with Mrs. Cog Hill Farm, and I must confess, this has not been a good day. So I said afternoon. Well, I've already recorded this whole video one time already. Completely finished the video. And Jason went to transfer the files. I have a new microphone. And I was given the microphone to install myself, which I thought I did everything properly. Come to find out, upon Jason beginning to edit, there was absolutely no volume. And I must confess, it took me a good little while to get recorded what we did. But I'm going to try to start over. Some of the steps are going to be left out, but I will do my best to recreate what happened this morning already. One thing that's changed since I recorded this morning is behind me you'll see the goslings with their parents. Well, Jason stated in his last video that that was two mamas raising these two goslings. Well, he misspoke, and that's okay because he really doesn't like geese, to be honest. This is a mama and a daddy, and they are doing a great job at raising these two goslings that this morning when I went out, they were up at the barn. So I was happy to see that they came closer because I needed to feed and water them first thing this morning like I've been doing every day. And I was really happy that they had not brought them down to the pond because it was chilly this morning. And they, as parents know, they know what to do. They know when not to put them in the water. But I still was happy that they held off on the pond for as long as they have. Now, here it is, 3:15 in the afternoon. They have since crossed the fence and brought their two youngins down to the side of the pasture where you can see behind me the pond resides. So I don't know if they're going to make it till nightfall without introducing these babies to the pond, but like I said, they're the parents and they know best. So in my video this morning, what I did was I wormed our chicken flock. Or I should say dewormed them. I didn't give them any worms, hopefully. Jason did a video about parasites, and in that video he told what we tested here on our farm and what the results were. So in that there were donkeys that were tested, Honey, who had a high fecal count, Jessie, who had none. There were goats who had some parasites, but there wasn't an overload. And then there were various other animals, cows, geese, whatnot was tested. Well, chickens. We picked one chicken out of 48. We have the bus where they all sleep at night, and then the electric fence in which they stay contained. So we picked one chicken to do the fecal from. And the reason we only chose one is because, can you imagine that vet's reaction if we had taken feces from 48 chickens? And could you imagine Jason and myself trying to gather feces from 48 different chickens? No. So we did one, and indeed there were some parasites. So Dr. D told us, in all honesty, I'm not real familiar with parasites in chickens. So he said, give me a few days, let me do some research and see what I come up with. And he did just that. He came up with a product that is available to everybody without a veterinarian prescription for deworming poultry. Before we head into the chicken area, I wanted to explain something about parasites. And that is that no matter how clean your farm is, no matter how clean your coop is, or how clean your waters are, your animals will still more than likely have parasites at some point in their life. The best way to determine if an animal has parasites is just by taking a fecal sample. Most vets will allow you to take that sample to them where they can examine it in their office and then let you know if your animal does indeed have parasites or if it does not. And that's what we have done in the past. Now, not to say that every vet would do that, but if that's the case and you're curious to have any of your pets checked, that's the best way to do it. Parasites live in the ground, and I can't think of an animal here that doesn't eat off the ground. Can y'all? I mean, you know, we feed our chickens in a feeder, obviously, but there's scratch that gets thrown on the ground, and they're obviously omnivores, so they eat bugs, and they're constantly looking for new things that they can eat on the ground. So their beaks are constantly in contact with the soil, as well as Mr. Moody back behind me, as well as Loretta and Gus. I mean, everything here eats off the ground. We as humans, we don't eat off the ground. Not to say that we don't have parasites, because there are some instances where humans do get parasites. But animals is a whole different story. You have to know that parasites live in the soil, and them having constant contact with the soil is just a breeding ground for them to indeed have parasites. And that leads to the fact that not all parasites are the same. Just because our chickens showed evidences of having roundworms, that doesn't mean that your chicken might not have something totally different. There's different types of parasites, and there are indeed different wormers to treat, or dewormers, to treat different parasites. That goes for goats, donkeys, whatever you're treating. And so Dr. D took that into account when he told us what to use for our chickens, because there were roundworms that were prevalent on the slide that he examined. So the product that he advised that we use is called Aquasol, Aquasol. And it is water soluble. That means that you put it in your chicken's water and they drink. So easy enough, right? You don't have to go around, you don't have to dose every single chicken, you just add it to the water. Well, how in the world do you do that? Because in our case, we have 48 chickens. Well, you can see that just about every chicken we have are what you would call a full-size chicken. And the example of a full-size chicken, their across the board weight is going to be average around 6 pounds. So what Aquasol, the product, does is it wants you to convert their weight in pounds into kilograms. So to convert that to kilograms will give you what you need to determine how much of this Aquasol you need. And y'all, I'm gonna tell you something. I thought that there's no way this can be right because it's such a small amount. Well, if you go searching for it and you try to find Aquasol, it's going to be in a very small container. This will treat 400 pounds of chickens, which I don't have 400 pounds of chickens. I just wanted enough in case I need to repeat. So this is the syringe that I'm using to draw up the product. And this is a 1 milliliter syringe. They can be purchased at Tractor Supply. Even your vet would probably give you a small syringe that you need to draw up the solution. So 0.65, it's right there. Y'all, look at how small of an amount that is. And that is going to be mixed with the same amount of solution that you drew up with the water, just to make sure that you get it good and combined before adding it to your chicken's water. Now, the next step is trying to figure out how much water can your chickens drink in a 24-hour period, because you want to make sure they drink it all, but then again, you don't want to give them too little. So in my case, I said, I'm thinking that 48 chickens will be able to consume a gallon of water in, less than 24 hours. So I did just that. Let me show you. So I mixed up 1 gallon with the solution of 0.65 milliliters in my case in this water. And I put it down here, and I also withdrew every other form of water that was in this area except for Cheese's swimming pool. But we're not gonna, Cheese's swimming pool is for Cheese, and Cheese is the one that uses it. So the only source of water that my chickens had was the medicated water. Now, I will indeed fill this back up with regular water and let them have that until they go to roost. But in the morning, I'm going to remix that same solution again. And I'm going to continue that for a total of 5 days. And at the end of that 5-day process, I'm going to have a fecal sample taken to Dr. D, where he will examine it. And I'm pretty certain he's going to determine that there are no more parasites. So yes, there are things that you can do to help prevent parasites in poultry. All other animals, there's different things that you can do from, I've heard things such as using garlic to pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are a natural dewormer. And around here, we keep a clean farm. Everything is kept tidy, everything is kept in order, but that doesn't mean our animals can't have parasites. Y'all kind of look at this chicken. So chickens, they will dig a hole and use that area to dust bathe in. And what that does is it helps to get any bugs that they have on their skin, and it just simply feels good to them to take a dust bath. So she's dug quite a deep hole over here that she's rolling in and getting dust all over just because it feels good to her. And that is a natural way for them to keep their skin healthy and keep lice off of them. Now, if there was any tried and true way to make sure that all of our animals stayed completely parasite free, I assure you we would be doing it. But despite all the precautions that we take here, and by administering things that we think help keep parasites at bay, our critters still have parasites. And it is very important, as Ryan the roaster said, it's very important that you have a healthy flock or a healthy herd of goats or healthy donkeys, or in Moody's case, a healthy steer. So just take it upon yourself and get that fecal taken to your vet, because a wormy critter is not a healthy critter. It enables them to contact diseases and sicknesses a lot easier than they would if their immune system was healthy. They can become anemic because those parasites are utilizing their blood that they need for their system. So I've got an audience here. I guess you guys can see it. But I wanted to show you guys what we were doing in order to get rid of the parasites that were found in our flock. And I hope that this will help you, because with this Aquasol product, there is no egg withdrawal. Now, if you were using this for meat birds, there is an egg withdrawal, or there is a meat withdrawal, I should say. But there's no egg withdrawal because this medication does not affect that area. So you're safe to not toss those eggs out, which in the past has been an issue. You deworm using ivermectin or a product like that, and you have to toss the eggs for 14 to 21 days. So while we will not sell our eggs for the next 7 days, just because we know that we've used a dewormer, it is perfectly safe to consume the eggs. And it's perfectly safe for Cheese to take a swig of this water if he wants to, because this particular deworming product is designed for ducks, geese, chickens, and that'll come in another time. Today it's all about poultry. And I'm happy that you guys joined me for my second take of this video. I hate that the first one did not go well, but hey, it is what it is. I turned that frown upside down and realized that I'm going to get this advice across to you guys as to how to have a healthy flock. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I plan to be back here on Thursday with a new video, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend. Y'all be good.